Humanity, a race between education and catastrophe. Good or bad by nature, the everlasting dilemma. Existing global institutions are based on outdated assumptions about human nature. Our modern set of ethical principles can be traced back to the Renaissance and Enlightenment, the two movements that gave rise to the Industrial Revolution. The Age of Reason also gave us the first frame for a pan-European consciousness, as its values defied national borders and promoted the idea that everyone has the right to seek knowledge and form their own opinions. Some of the postulates of the Enlightenment are still very valid to this day. Reason, tolerance, freedom, objectivity. But some are less self-evident. The Enlightenment did not shed the belief, deeply engraved in us by centuries of the Church's dogma, of the innately bad, corrupt nature of humans. It only proposed that reason seemed to be the solution to that state of affairs. All we needed to do was build institutions to control our demons. These ideas, which are still largely accepted, do not reflect any realistic views of the world and are not supported by data and modern science. But running on assumed truths is corrosive because we create the reality we believe in. Our great power, compared to any other living thing, is to imagine and then create what we have imagined. This is how we created literally everything that our civilization is today. But this is also why it is our greatest weakness. Our destiny is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I cannot emphasize that enough. What we think sets the conditions for our reality. Because of this state of affairs, it is hard to disprove what people believe in. One who believes in the exclusivity of matter is confronted daily with irrefutable evidence of that belief. If one doubts his ability to shape his own destiny, he receives confirmation of it too. Our freedom to create is so vast that we even have the power to build a reality for ourselves, in which we are not the creators. Therefore, we design the idea of God, outsourcing by the same the fear of being creators. So be mindful of what you think, because if you think that humans are inherently bad, you will create conditions in your everyday life that will prove it without a doubt. On the other hand, if you can envision a better humanity, then you will experience this new reality. The key is to realize that sometimes we all misbehave. We have all been damaged by the beliefs of others and their actions based on those beliefs. Those twisted people's minds have themselves been distorted by their elders. I do not believe that anyone is trying to hurt me because they are inherently bad. Even the worst of us are themselves hurt, depressed, sad, and most of all, unconscious about why that is. Thoughts matter because they materialize as actions. The term pluralistic ignorance defines the idea that most people hold beliefs for their group and their societies that they do not believe themselves. For example, most people believe that most other people primarily seek fame, power, and wealth. They act according to what they think the masses believe, even though they do not believe so themselves. The truth is that research has shown, over and over again, that what we hold dear the most is friendship, health, connection, generosity. This is why what we all need is to know ourselves better and raise our level of consciousness. We got the power of creation before having the virtue of self-awareness. The context you create for yourself and others is a game changer. People would change from mad wolves to Labradors just based on a few words said to them. Being cynical about life and others is your worst enemy. The human brain has the capability to format itself into many things. Just like software, which makes a machine perform differently depending on its code, humans have the capability to overwrite their fundamental characteristics. Contrary to what the dogma of monotheistic religions would want us to believe, humans have an innate aversion to violence, a deep need for social belonging, and receive a great deal of reward from acts of generosity and selflessness. But our uniqueness and thirst for discovery and knowledge drive us to experiment with our intellect and psyche in many different ways, which sometimes leads the social animal that we are to install malware and overwrite his best traits. Fortunately, what we have, that no machine possesses yet, is a balancing feature, the one thing we all strive to reconnect to: a soul. Or, should I say in more modern terms, a consciousness. A higher state of consciousness is the heightened ability to perceive reality as it is, with awareness of oneself and one's actions. The less we suppress it, the less we deviate from our true good nature. Even though consciousness and conscience diverge in meaning, a heightened state of consciousness often involves a greater awareness of one's thoughts and actions, extending by the same the awareness of one's moral and ethical beliefs, of our conscience. That is why we say that someone's conscience is speaking, to refer to the fact that a bad action takes a toll on anyone's happiness. In the end, enhancing your consciousness levels is a survival skill that we all should train and do so urgently. But why? As stated above, the more we become conscious and aware of reality, the more we can relate to our fellow humans and other creatures, and see them less as a threat and more as partners without whom we could not exist. This is of the utmost importance because it shapes our actions and will define the outcome of our species. Our instinct is to fear the unknown, but as it happens, most things are not to be feared once they are understood. A higher level of awareness of your world is directly related to the actions you will perform in it. The thirst and quest for spirituality often come from education, and by education, I do not mean gathering knowledge alone. Education is the action of discovery and amazement in the face of the unknown, which leads only to more questions about what is yet to be discovered. Science and spirituality are on the path to merging because their core specificity in their true form is that they are without end, a perpetual quest for more discovery of yourself or the outer world. Dogma and forced ways of thinking are always detrimental to both science and spirituality. It is like blocking the flow of a river and continuing to call the unsanitary pond of still water that you created a river. Let's go back for a minute to the analogy of software installed in our brains. The urgency of developing our awareness of the world goes hand in hand with the speed of the technological miracles that we live through. Every tool that we invented has been both a tool and a weapon, and has taken the shape of one or the other, depending on how we perceive our reality. As said above, a cynical view of the world will inevitably persuade you to use any possible ability to enclose, distance, and defend yourself against the imaginary foes out there. And again, as this is our self-fulfilling prophecy, these imaginary foes do not stay imaginary for long, as they will suffer from the same mass delusion, and your actions will only confirm their fears, which will confirm your fears, and so on. So be brave and choose a world worth living in. Today, our recommended author is Steven Pinker, a Canadian-American cognitive psychologist and linguist. A professor at Harvard University, he is the author of several best-selling books, including The Language Instinct, How the Mind Works, and The Better Angels of Our Nature. Pinker is known for his optimistic view on human progress, arguing that violence and suffering have decreased over time, thanks in part to the advancement of human reason and science. Once again, thanks for watching.